All right, it says we are live and it is 12:04 p.m. Maui, Hawaii time. That means it's 2:04 in California and 3:04 on the what would that be? Mountain time, and 4:04 right now Central time, and 5:04 East Coast time. My apologies. I didn't get this Facebook Live running until 4 minutes late today. And that's because at 10 minutes before we were supposed to start, my computer, my PC, decided it wanted to go into freeze mode, and I had to restart everything. So we are back. I stressed out there for the last 10 minutes, but it is good to be here. Hello, welcome, aloha, howdy, hola, whatever you would like to say. My name is Rob Webb. I'm the founder of Nonprofit Campaigns. And welcome to the Camp Friday Philanthropy Live. No, Philanthropy Friday Live. That's what we call this thing. I'm indoors today. For sometimes outdoors. I'm also flying solo. I do not have Sean, our cameraman, with us today. So bear with me as I kind of roll with this and do this all by myself. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please, in the group. I see, and let me know about your nonprofit. I see Richard Villasana. Hello, Richard. Welcome to the group. There's a few other people that are in here and joining right now. Thank you, Richard. Let me know about your nonprofit. And anybody else that is joining us in the group, go ahead and introduce me yourselves. Let me know who you're here. I'm going to talk for a few minutes. And then we're going to come back and we're going to start the show here in about 5 minutes. So first of all, I want to, my face looks a little, I don't know if you can see it, right? But I've been doing I have to apologize for the look of my face. I probably should do that more often. But in this case, my dermatologist has had me on this chemotherapy cream that is supposed to just kill all the precancerous stuff that I've done from surfing and swimming and lifeguarding and all this stuff all my years. Swim coach. I've been out this, I've delivered sailboats a lot around the up and down the coast. So I've got a lot of skin cancer problems, and and so they're treating that. It's I know I look a little bit like a sunburned roadkill right now, but I look better than last week. Last week I looked like Job. So thankfully, I guess in a couple of weeks. The worst part is, of course, I can't get in the ocean. I can't get in the sun. I love the ocean. Hello, Cheryl Lindley. I see you here. And from the Maui Pops Orchestra, she knows I love to go in the ocean, and being out of the ocean for a month and a half is killing me right now. Richard is with the Forever Homes for foster kids. Richard, welcome. Cheryl Lindley is with the Maui Pops Orchestra, a client we have here in Maui. Great organization. And I know you know a lot of this stuff that we're going to be talking about today, Cheryl, but we appreciate you joining us and being here and interjecting and letting us know feedback and your thoughts on things. So today our goal is we're going to talk about recruiting and cultivating an effective board of directors for your nonprofit organization. And I don't know, is Abbie Phillips, are you in the room yet, Abbie? We did a question and we asked everybody what they wanted to talk about on this month's Philanthropy Friday Facebook Live. Abbie Phillips was the one who got, and she said she wanted to recruit and cultivate an effective board for a burgeoning nonprofit organization. And so we hope you're here in the room to check this out. Abbie Phillips, thank you for coming up with the reason we're doing this. Number two, we're also going to discuss our February Philanthropy Friday question we asked in our Facebook group a couple of weeks ago, and that is, what is the number one reason donors give a recurring gift to your nonprofit or to any nonprofit organization? I know there's a lot of reasons, but we're going to discuss the number one reason that donors give a regular monthly recurring gift, might be quarterly, whatever that may be. And we're also we're going to tell you about some of our products and services, of course, that we offer here at Nonprofit Campaigns. We love to do this free stuff, but we also make a living here. And so we'll tell you about our online training course on how to develop a high impact fundraising campaign. And we've got a new virtual fundraising solution. So that gives you the opportunity to do on live galas and live auctions, plus a very fun social media fundraising platform, virtual fundraising platform that has the ability to go viral. And we can teach you how to do that and reach a whole lot of people during the pandemic. So that is what we're going to be discussing today. I want to say that we are, I've talked to a lot of people this week who are in the Midwest and the East Coast, and they don't have power, and a lot of times don't have heat, and they have got snow up to the rooftops. And so I want to say a prayer for our friends and our clients and our group members that are going through some real tough times on the East Coast. I cannot complain about weather. Although Nonprofit Campaigns is a Long Beach company, I work remotely in Maui, Hawaii, right? So I can't complain. I am very blessed to be here. So anybody, and by the way, we're going to give you a chance to ask questions later. We love to hear all your questions. We will be talking about, we'll be answering those a little bit later. So hang on to those. If I missed something or you want to add something, I know I have, I've got a lot of things I want to say, but I know a lot of you have a lot of experience, and I would love to hear what you have to say. So let's start off with the first topic today, which is board development, how to recruit, how to motivate your nonprofit board of directors to be effective, right? And Cheryl knows all about that. An effective nonprofit board of directors really not only can help with the program side and the operation side and give you leadership in financials and things that the executive director or the founder or all the staff need. But they can also be very helpful with fundraising, and that doesn't happen overnight. And it is a bit of an art and a bit of a science to get your nonprofit board of directors working on all 8 cylinders, assuming you're a V8, and moving in that direction. So, and so before we get into that, though, I really want to talk about: do we have any founders of a nonprofit here in the group today? It says we only have a few people in here now, but I will we'll talk about that. If you are a founder of a nonprofit, go ahead and type that into the comment. Let me know you're a founder. We're going to talk to you guys for a minute. The primary responsibility for a nonprofit board of directors is to be legally and ethically responsible for all activities of the organization. And that is, and we're going to read a little bit about that. I'm going to pull these notes up here so we can talk about that. The board, and that's, by the way, why you want to have a Arizona Merit Missions Assurance, or Directors and Officers Insurance, right, to keep the staff and the board covered in case of a lawsuit or some kind of an event. Richard said that he is a nonprofit founder, so hang on, Richard. I'm talking to you and others that are going to be joining us in the replay right now. So the board is, we know that legally and ethically responsible for all activities of the organization. I have heard, and this is funny because I'm in a lot of those Facebook groups, Nonprofit Unleashed, and Nonprofit for Newbies, and Nonprofit Fundraising Development, a lot of different fundraising groups. And I talk to nonprofit founders all the time, and they say, they don't want to grow a big board. They want a small board. They want it to keep it friends or close to family or whatever they legally can. because they've heard stories, and we've all heard stories where the board of directors, founder works hard, creates this organization, and their board of directors up and fires them, and which sucks, and really all the way around, Dan. Um, and so we need to talk about that. They are legally and ethically responsible for what your organization does. And if you look at, so our elected officials in government are the people that created the laws that nonprofits have to follow. And if you notice that our board of directors that's mandated by law it kind of looks like government, right? And we have some people that are elected or appointed or get into some in this position, so they have oversight of what staff is doing, just like government should have oversight of what their staff is doing. And so we do, by the way, and I offer this in our course, intro to high impact campaigns. Where is it? Here's part 2 of the guide, creating a successful campaign. I was trying to do screen sharing in this Facebook Live, and it doesn't allow it. In there, we've got a lot of stuff about board development. And I've offered to share with people, if you would like. We have a free, we're going to give you a free sample of a nonprofit board member job description, position description, so you can get a little bit about that. But so let's get into this. A lot of nonprofits, they want to keep a small board. They want to keep decision making easy. They don't want to get fired. And quite frankly, there's only 2 ways that's going to happen. One, there's a coup, which is kind of rare, but it happens, right? And they take a good nonprofit executive and throw them out and bring somebody in. Take the founder, throw them out, bring somebody else in. Typically, the organization doesn't last after that, and it folds. And the other way is the founder is really not doing a good job and is not being ethical and is not and doing things the way they should. And I cannot blame. And that, in fact, I encourage all nonprofit board members, if you see that going on and there's a founder or there's an executive director that is not playing by the rules and ethically and legally and taking care of the staff and doing things that are important, they should be fired. Or reprimanded or dealt with or trained or whatever the case may be. And so you cannot blame a nonprofit board for doing their job. And that's exactly what it is. So once again, you can't be afraid of developing a board of directors, but you do need to have that relationship with these people, especially your board chair. Your board chair is got to be your, you got to marry that person almost. You've got to be in sync with what in most of the decisions that your organization is making. And if there's change, if they need to be the person, that board chair needs to be the person that's leading that change within the organization. It's really hard for the executive director to go in and lead change. We've got a couple other people that have joined us in here that I see them typing. Live Love Foundation of Salvation. Oh my gosh, Live Love Foundation, you're a member of our group. Thank you. I forgot your name, but I love your organization. Oh yeah, you're the ones in San Diego that support orphanages in Uganda and Mexico. And great story. I've never known an organization that has their mission is Uganda and Mexico. That's just kind of like all over the place, but you have a reason for that. Darlene is your name, right? We're going to meet next week and talk about your campaigns and how we're going to help you raise some money. Richard said something. There's another post in here. I got to scroll down and read all these posts. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. If an organization has Darlene Platt. Thank you, Darlene. Welcome. If Richard said if an organization has informal advisors, do you recommend insurance for them? Well, an organization has to have a board of directors, and they can have informal advisors beyond that, Richard. So we will get into more of that stuff. Remind me to come back to that question later. So yes, you do need directors and officers insurance. I believe that's a really important thing to cover your staff, you, the founder, and your board members, as well as and of course those advisors and other volunteers. General liability is the other thing, right? I don't know what your program is. General liability and errors and omissions, directors and officers are very important. All right, so I beat this dead horse about why a lot of founders and some people like to have small boards. Let's talk about the average size of a board of directors, because I like big boards, and I cannot lie. I There's a joke there somewhere. I really believe that I believe in having a large organization and board member. Maybe it's a combination of board members and, like Richard said, advisors, or a board, some kind of another. Rather than a sworn elected board of directors, that you can have a board of advisors and a board of governors and an advisory board of people, and that's good. I recommend that. Those people are kind of a pool that you can bring into your board from your advisory board. But limiting the size of the board is really small thinking. If you're a nonprofit executive or a founder or board member. 2010 survey said that the average size board across the nation was 16 members. 16 members for that board of directors. If you're over $1 million, the average was 18 members. And of course, that goes up when because I work with YMCAs that have 30, 35, sometimes 40 board members. And you could say, my gosh, that's so unruly. How do we deal with that? You deal with that by the majority of the decision making is done by your executive board and done in committees. And when that board gets together, they're ratifying decisions and talking about board recruitment and talking about fundraising and how to develop that culture of philanthropy. Under 1 million, the average size is 14 members or less. If you are in that or less category and you're a smaller nonprofit under $1 million, I encourage you to grow. Let's face it, the larger organizations have more board members. You want to grow your organization, it only makes sense that you want to increase and add the number of board members to your organization. The next step, and probably the most important thing with your board, is what we call developing a culture of philanthropy. Now, we want to take these board members. And remember, it's really important to recruit them properly, show them and let them know everything that needs to that entails in the job. You never want to recruit a board member and have them not understand what the job entails and what the expectations are. And that's why we give you a sample board member position description. That's why when you go out to recruit these people and meet with them, you want to be upfront and honest. I've been in meetings with volunteers from certain organizations, and they turn around and tell this guy, oh, it's no big deal. We're not going to take too much of your time. And they don't talk about a fundraising or a financial commitment to the organization. Big mistake. You want to be upfront and honest. It's really hard. And I've been there as a consultant. And it's really hard when the board, when a volunteer says to another volunteer, guy, yeah, I'm on the board. No big deal. Join us. We're not going to bug you too much. How do I respond to that as an executive director that's in that meeting or a volunteer? Real tough. So be upfront and honest. And then what we want to be doing, as Cheryl knows, is developing that culture of philanthropy. And the culture of philanthropy versus, I'm going to read this, in fact, from our course. What page is that on? This is page 8 and 9. So I'm going to come back here. We have about a 50-page guidebook and it's in 2 parts in our online training course on how to create a effective board of directors, and I'm on a different page right now. So let's talk a little bit about developing a culture of philanthropy, which refers to a set of values and practices that support and nurture development within an organization. And that was a quote from Compass Point. I didn't come up with that one myself. But indeed, this is perhaps the most important element of achieving campaign success as well as overall success in your organization. I found that organizations that don't have a culture of philanthropy tend to limp along, leaving a lot of money on the table. Their volunteers are embarrassed to ask others. They hire a development director or expect the executive director to raise all the money. Tell me if this sounds familiar to any of you. These organizations typically have an unhealthy reliance on government or foundation grant funding. That sometimes tends to dry up during lean economic times, or most of these foundation grants tend to be program specific and not necessarily overall operating costs. And they those funds, they like to fund an organization for a while and then move on. It's not going to be forever. Let's talk about this. A recent survey of nonprofit executive directors and development directors indicate that 41% of them felt their organizations did not have a culture of philanthropy. 41% of the nonprofits out there that were surveyed don't have a culture of philanthropy. They've got more of a culture of charity. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's interesting to note 50% in this survey of larger nonprofits felt they do not have a culture of philanthropy, compared to only 38% of their smaller counterparts. Interesting. A lot of these larger organizations you think are going to, they're raising more money, they're larger, but that's it's how we do it, not necessarily that we do it. The study also pointed out that 18% of executive directors surveyed dislike asking potential donors for money, and 14% of development directors dislike asking for money. I'm glad to see that number is lower with development directors, but and certainly there's a lot of, as Cheryl and a lot of you guys know that are in here, there's a lot of board members that dislike asking for money. I can tell you, and this is something you're not going to learn in an hour-long webinar. We do consulting with organizations, and like I said, we sell online training courses. If you are, if your love and your passion and your commitment to this organization needs to be greater than your fear of asking for it. And we'll come back to that. We'll talk about that ask a little bit later as we get into the second part of today's webinar. What I wanted to talk about is, so people are going to ask me, what's the difference and how do I make that and how do I identify that culture of philanthropy? A nonprofit with a culture of charity usually views donations as a transaction. They passively receive gifts and are focused on short-term growth. While most organizations start out that way, the institutions that focus on a culture of philanthropy develop relationship-based model and look for the long-term societal needs for their constituents in the organization. The old saying is, ask not what your donors can do for you, but what you can do for your donors. We should be embracing our donors as part of our mission. We should be training our staff and our volunteers and our board members that it's okay to go out and tell your personal story and ask others to join you in making a gift. My gosh, what if they say no? That's great. We have given them the most important form of advertising known to man. Word of mouth advertising is just, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get more into that in a minute. I can go on and on about that. We got a lot in the training course that talks about that. We're gonna do more. I'm gonna do another whole webinar on developing a culture of philanthropy. I want to show you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We got a couple of things we're going to talk about. This pie chart, I'm going to put it up here. Once again, I can't screen share, and I can't see what I'm doing right now. Let's see. Got it. This pie chart here talks about where the money comes from for nonprofits. And this survey year we looked at was 2016. $335 plus billion was contributed in 2016. And I can't read my own notes here. So I'm going to take corporations, corporate gifts. People love to go after corporate gifts. That's 5%. 5% of all the money donated to nonprofits in the United States come from corporations. Love having them, but for how much of your time are you going to focus on that? Bequests. Now this is let me go down to foundations, because everybody loves to write grants, right? Ugh, I hate writing grants. I don't hate it. It's just really boring. I think everything and fundraising should be structured as a campaign. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to make grant writing and a campaign. 15%. Foundations, personal foundations, grants are 15% of the total money given every year in the United States. It goes up and down every year, but about that. Look at at that year, it was 72%. These are individuals, people just like you and me, 72%. The vast majority of the money in the United States every year is given by individuals. And so that would kind of make sense that the vast majority of your efforts as a nonprofit should be recruiting individuals as donors and as campaigners and board members and volunteers, and bringing them through. I'm going to show you another one here. This is the, there we go. This is what we call the nonprofit pyramid of giving. And I know you can't read those here. But down here at the bottom of the pyramid is kind of the entry point as where most of your donors are coming from. And we're going to take those. And those are going to be your direct mail donors, right? And I gotta hold that thing still. Your special events and your benefits and direct mail and social media donors and your online website giving. And there could be other ways that they come in there. That others could be asking them the first time for a gift. They're coming in there. They're moving up and they're becoming major give donors. And the major giving is your endowment campaigns and your capital and special projects, and going from being a smaller giver to being a major gift donor down the right ways. And of course, the last, but certainly not least, is estates and planned gifts. The goal here is at the top of the pyramid is to get them to leave a gift of their estate to your organization. In 2016, I tell you, this is growing. Where's my notes? In 2016, I'm going to go back a couple of pages there. It was 8% of the nonprofits, 8% of the money raised in the United States came from these bequests. That's the fastest growing segment of charitable giving in the United States right now. Is the bequests. It's in the only way we're going to do that is develop relationships, bring that through that pyramid of giving. I know if there's going to be somebody out there that is, Cheryl Lindley typed in and says, all my board members dislike asking. Yes, I know that, Cheryl. And God bless them. They're great people. That leadership needs, as I said, needs to come from the leadership at the top, the board chair, the officers. They've got to be setting that standard for the new people that come in, and it's a tough one, and it's we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But if any, Cheryl Lindley mentioned that her all the board members dislike asking. I get it. If anybody else has that problem, go ahead and type that into the room. And see, where am I at here? I get rambling on, man, and I'm having such a good time talking. But you get the idea. Our goal is to recruit volunteers, get them involved in your organization, develop that culture of philanthropy, increase the size of your board. I lost my place here, so pardon me as I catch myself up. All right. We've talked about that. It's 12:32. We've talked about that for a while. By the way, I am willing to meet with anybody that wants to talk about this stuff. On our Facebook page, I don't think it's on our website yet, I've got free 30-minute coaching calls for you to sign up with me pretty much most afternoons. I'm doing them here. And we're going to sit down and talk with you for 30 minutes and ask questions and go through this stuff. For those of you who purchase our online training course, which is on our website, nonprofitcampaigns.com, we're going to be setting up a regular coaching call for you so we can, which I think is really important. Once you go through the training course, Cheryl knows everything I'm talking about. I was her consultant. We went over all this stuff. She's got all this stuff on a shelf somewhere. And it takes, it's a lot, half science, half art, and a lot of work. But it's a fun labor of love, I got to tell you, to get through there. So we talked about Abbie. Are you even in the room? Abbie Phillips. She's the person that was the reason we came up with this topic. A lot of you new people that are out there. Darlene, you've been around for a while. I think you've got a pretty good gourd. Richard, Cheryl, you too. We all need to be recruiting new people to our boards. That's how we grow. But how do we do it if we're a newer organization, don't have a lot of people? I got to tell you, it's all about developing relationships. Here is the secret to life. Here is the secret to sales. Here is the secret to nonprofit fundraising and recruiting volunteers, developing relationships. It's interesting in the United States that we have this motto of business before pleasure, and that's the only country I see that. I go to other countries, and I've been in Mexico and Tahiti, and done a lot of this work in Mexico, in fact. And they look at you and they say, if I don't like you, I don't want to do business with you. So it's all about the relationship. And so when you first meet with somebody and you're identifying and you're looking at these people and say, I want you to be a board member, don't ask them when you first meet them. Just meet them, develop that relationship, find a connection that they have to your organization, find a program they might be passionate about, invite them to come see the program, invite them to like your social media, and get them, start developing that relationship before you ask anybody for anything. But okay, I got to start somewhere, right? So who do I ask? There are some people that you can go right to and ask. And I would really start asking their advice before I would start asking for them to, will you be on my board? But these are professional people that you have a professional relationship with. You have a natural relationship with your banker because your money is in their account. And quite frankly, if your nonprofit is not receiving an annual gift from your bank of some kind, get a new bank. Because bankers, there's a lot of people that work in the bank. If I suggest you meet with the banker, the manager of the bank, or the vice president, or somebody at that bank that's up there, and your money's in their bank, your nonprofit money's in their bank, and so you have a professional relationship with them. Sit down, meet with them, tell them about your story, tell them about your nonprofit. Tell them about what you're passionate about and ask for their advice. Is there somebody that is in the bank that may want to become involved and be a volunteer? Is there somebody looking to get involved in the community there that he has as an employee, that number 2 guy that he'd love to see in there? This goes with lawyers and insurance brokers, financial planners. Oh, I love having financial planners on the board. Cheryl, you and I asked, I forget the guy's name, the financial planners here, about getting them involved in the board when we were talking about developing an endowment giving society. And those guys are great for endowment and some of these things. So these are professional people. You have a relationship with them. You can go meet with them right now and ask their opinion. Who do they know in the community? Who do they know in their business and their organization? Who are other customers that they think might line up with your mission and want to get involved? And continue that relationship. Don't just meet them one time and then blow it off. You got to do this on a regular basis. The other one is to join a service club. Really important. I believe all nonprofit professionals should be members of Rotary International, their local Rotary Club, their Kiwanis Club. I was a past Kiwanis president in Long Beach, California myself. The Lions Club, Seroptimists, Optimists. My gosh, there's so many service clubs. Not as many as there used to be. I got to tell you, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, people were into getting involved in those civic organizations and giving back to their community. I think we need to get back to that. I love the fact where I live here in Maui, we've got more social those service clubs here on Maui than I've seen anywhere. Downtown, there in Kahului has got 2 or 3 Rotary clubs and 2 or 3 Kiwanis clubs, and there's clubs in Lahaina and Upcountry and Wailea and Kihei, and just a great place here on Maui. But find and get involved with that service club, but join it for the right reason. If you join or go to a service club or a Rotary meeting and your number one goal is to get something, They're going to see right through it, and you're going to be shallow, and it doesn't mean anything. If you join that organization to give back to your community and join it for the right reasons, and you want to attend regularly and participate, and they're going to see that that's going to be infectious. You're going to get board members and volunteers from those Rotary clubs, from those Kiwanis clubs. That infection is catchy, and they're going to get it. So do it. Join them. Do it for the right reasons. Also, your Chamber of Commerce is an important place to join. Businesses get involved with the Chamber of Commerce simply so they can get involved in the community and expose their business. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can help them get involved in the community by joining your organization. Develop that relationship with those people. Join your Chamber of Commerce. Attend those meetings. Participate in committee meetings. Great way to recruit volunteers and board members. Lastly, do you have an annually... Does your board of directors have a solicitation committee? Your board should have a board solicitation committee. Every year with some new people. It got to include some board members, obviously, on the board chair, and the executive director, the founder, needs to be very involved in this process. Excuse me. You need to include, by the way, somebody from that Rotary Club and the Kiwanis Club. That's not on your board, right? Include people that are not on your board in your board solicitation committee. Somebody from the chamber, somebody from the Rotary. Include your banker. Hey, bank manager, can you participate in this, 1-2 month project here, special project we're doing for the organization? Inviting people to be on committees and projects that are not on your board is an excellent way to recruit and develop volunteers for the organization. Get these people together, and then we start looking at, and then you're going to sit and start brainstorming and coming up with names of who people are that are possible that you can recruit to the organization, or that you need to start developing that relationship to be a donor, a volunteer, and a board member. Get that names, put it on a piece of paper, just start vetting it. One of the things I see organizations do all the time, like I said, I live on Maui. I live in upcountry Keokea, right down the street from my house. Oprah Winfrey has a big, beautiful house. She's got her own private road she won't let me drive on to get down to Kihei in 10-15 minutes. And I got to tell you, Cheryl knows this. Every board in Maui sits around and they go, "How do we get Oprah to give money? We can get Oprah's money. We don't need, we don't need to fundraise." Do you have a relationship with Oprah? Do you know Oprah? Well, then stop thinking about Oprah. People give money to the people they like and they have relationships with. And so the other thing is every community has what I call the Committee of 300. And maybe it's 100, maybe it's 50, whatever it is. But there's got to be 100 people in that community that every nonprofit goes to for money, that every nonprofit wants to have these people on their board. And fine, if you have a relationship with some of these people, develop it. Recruit them as volunteers. But if you don't have the relationship with them, throw them aside. It's like Oprah as far as I'm concerned. And chances are, though, somebody in your board, your banker, your board members, they're going to have relationships with these people, and you're going to utilize those existing relationships to develop more for your organization. Don't worry about the Committee of 300. Don't worry about Oprah. Worry about the people you know. Recruit the people you know. You're going to get a committee, your solicitation committee. Annually, this should be done. They're going to come up with people, and then you're going to sit down 1-2 people at a time, meeting with them, tell them the story of your organization, and asking them to get involved. Those 3 tips, I believe, are the best thing that you can do right away, right now, to start recruiting that board, and of course developing that culture of philanthropy and the stuff that we talked about earlier. We've got some new people in the group. Let us know who you are. You can see the replay earlier of what you missed. We'll have this replay up on our Facebook page and the Facebook group. By the way, if you're not a member of our group, go to Facebook as soon as we're done. Don't leave now. And join Nonprofit Campaigns Community Was it Inspiring Fundraising Success? We have a group of about 250 people right now. Later this afternoon, I'm going to introduce the new members of our group. Every week on Friday, I call it Pauhana Friday. We introduce the new members of our group. We ask you guys to introduce yourselves. So get in there, join. We'll approve you. They're going to ask you some questions if you're a nonprofit professional. What's your greatest fundraising challenge? What's your favorite flavor ice cream? Oh, I'm just kidding. We're not going to ask you that. But we're going to be we'll answer the questions on there. Join the group. You're going to love it. And we're going to introduce you later so you can introduce yourself. All right. Once again, I'm off on a tangent here. I got to figure out where we're at. We're at the Board Solicitation Committee. If you have any questions, we can follow up more on that. Also, keep your questions for later. In about 10 minutes, we're going to be giving you an opportunity to ask questions at the end of this webinar. So I think you're going to get the answer correct now after all the things I've saying. We asked this a couple of weeks ago in our Philanthropy Friday question. What is the number one reason donors give recurring gifts to a nonprofit organization? Ashley Blunk, I believe, was the person that got this correct. Ashley, I don't know if you're in the room. Wave your hand and say hi, Ashley, if you have. Yes, the number one reason people give recurring gifts is because someone with a relationship asked them to give. There's lots of ways you can ask people to give recurring gifts. You can do it in an email. You can do it in a direct mail letter. You can do it on your website and your online giving or via social media. But the number one reason people give these recurring gifts is because somebody with a relationship that they respect asked them. And it's best if the person that is asking is a volunteer versus a staff member. I know a lot of you guys think, well, I'm a staff member, I should be doing the fundraising. Yes, you should be including your volunteers in that. Now think about this. Board members usually have, and volunteers, have a longer tenure with an organization than the executive director, or certainly the development director, or maybe the major gifts officer. And the sad reality is the average time on the job for a development director and major gift officers kind of in there 18 months. The average time in the United States on the job for these fundraising professionals is 18 months. It's very sad. I think the reason it's so low is they don't have support from their superiors. They don't have support from the board members. They're told to get out there and fundraise, and you're like, yeah, I'm all alone here. You guys got to help me. Do you really want your top donors to be these staff members that are going to be there for a finite short period of time? Do you want them to be developing the relationship with your donors? No. You want your board members to be developing these relationships with the donors. You want your board members being the ones that are asking these people. They're going to be around forever. When these guys see 2 or 3 executive directors usually, and they're going to see several corporate giving officers and major gift officers, these major gift people that they give them a Rolodex. They're 100% of your job, if you're a development director, or a major gifts officer, is to develop relationships with people. And if they're good, they're golfing with them. They're married to them. They're boating with them. They're going to their kids' weddings. These guys are going to leave and go to another organization and take your donor with them. If ethically maybe they shouldn't, right? But you get the idea. Your volunteers, on the other hand, that are developing these relationships, that's solid. They're going to be together for years and years. They're going to go up through the pyramid of giving together and become major givers and planned gift givers. You like how I do that? That's your pyramid of giving. And I know some people will say that's a vortex and you can come in from different. I like the pyramid of giving. It makes sense. Easy to do. Okay, so we beat that dead horse. Good. Your volunteers should be the one making for the ask. What's the next reason that these people give? We know it's because it should be a volunteer who is also giving a recurring gift at that same level of giving. That way they can say, will you please join me in giving this $1,000 gift to my favorite nonprofit? I'm doing it. Would you please join me? I pay $100 a month to this organization. I can set it up on with your credit card just like I do it, where they just automatically $100 a month goes to the organization. Then you can join me in being that chairman's roundtable $1,000 annual giver. And boy, it's going to be a fun club, and I want you to be in that club with me. And this is a great organization. If the person tells you no, once again, you've given them the most effective advertising known to man, word of mouth advertising, and feel good about that. Say, hey, okay, you don't want to do it. If there's anything you want to get involved, you let me know. I just feel that it's important to me to tell you why I love this organization, my personal story, why I want to get involved. That is the most effective way. And what's the number 3 reason that makes this the number 1 reason that donors give reoccurring gifts is from somebody asked them with a relationship that's a volunteer that's giving at that same level already. If I'm giving $100 a year, it's really hard for me to ask somebody to give $5,000 a year. It just doesn't make sense. Really hard for the staff to go ask that person if you had $5,000 a year, but a volunteer given $5,000 a year, golden opportunity, utilize those. And of course, lastly, it's best when it's done face to face. There's a lot of ways to do it. We're in a pandemic right now. I get it. I'm praying every day that we get our, everybody gets vaccinated. I know that's another story people can debate about, but whatever it takes to get us back to something near normal where we can meet with people and have events again and feel comfortable going out to dinner or going out to lunch with somebody and asking them face to face is the best. Phones and Zoom meetings are probably the next best. And then you get down to mail and email and all that. It works sometimes, but the number 1 reason, again, in the United States, in the world, that history tells us is that face-to-face gifts. I know this stuff sounds old school. It's 12:50. We're going to go into 10 minutes of question and answers in a minute, so get your questions raised. Live Love Foundation, Darlene says, we only have 5 board members. We all ask like crazy. God bless you, Darlene. I'm glad. We're going to talk about next Tuesday. I think you and I have a meeting, and we're going to talk about how to take those 5 board members and turn it into 25 board members, all out asking and doing the same thing like crazy. But that's the idea. Man, she's got a good board. I know that. Cheryl has a great board that is passionate about the organization. They don't like to ask for money. So, and Cheryl knows that, we've got to develop that culture of philanthropy. Sorry to pick on you there, Cheryl, but you're the only one that was a client in the room today with me. We'll Live Love Foundation, Darlene. She's going to be a client. We're going to be working with her next week. Okay, let me go back to the old school thing. I recently saw a webinar. I do webinars, as consultants. We go out and watch other people's webinars. And I don't believe there's competition in the consulting world. I want to collaborate with good consultants out there. I don't want to compete with them, which is how you should be viewing your nonprofit. You're not competing with other organizations for donors. You're creating. Be creators, don't be competitors. In any event, she did a webinar recently that said that, and she has this great newfangled way that she figured out to go out and ask the money from her herself as the executive director or the development director or the founder, and not necessarily taking the time to develop the relationships and utilize the volunteers. And she kind of, I kind of took it personal. She said that's old-fashioned, and throw that old-fashioned system out, out-of-date system out the window. And I got it, and I thought about it for a while, but I said, wait a minute, I've been doing this 40 years, and I'm all for new ideas, and I'm all for utilizing technology, and I'm all for learning more about better ways to do this. And moves management was the big thing. And I studied moves management. And, this is all important. But some of that stuff is fad fundraising. And I'm sorry to tell you, the stuff I've been doing for 40 years and the mentors that taught me, it may be old school, but it is the far and by true the very best way to raise money in the organization and recruit volunteers, developing relationships, getting your volunteers to be the ones making the ask, developing these relationships with people rather than staff that are going to be there for a year and a half and move on to another organization. It's old school. It works. It will always work. So I'm not going to dog her new technology, and thank you for letting me make my little preach there about our old school way of doing things, because it works and it works well, and it's the very best and most successful way to fundraise. All right, it is 12:54 here in Hawaii, where I'm at. It's 2:54 in California, and wherever your time zone is. I know we're missing a lot of people because of blizzards in the East Coast that said they wanted to be here, but they weren't sure. If you are in the room right now, you have a question, please type it in. There's a 30-second delay. So why we do this 30-second delay, I'm going to talk for just a second and say, once again, like our social media, by the way. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, my goal is to get 100 subscribers. I'm at 98 subscribers. So please go to YouTube and search Nonprofit Campaigns LLC. Hopefully we come up without the LLC, but I know if you go Nonprofit Campaigns LLC on YouTube, it'll come up. Subscribe. We've got 10 videos there and growing you can watch. I'm getting better at them. I'm pretty good in front of a board. I'm learning how to get better in front of the camera. Also, as I said earlier, we happen to sell some products and services that I make a living in. One of those is our new course on our website, Intro to High Impact Campaigns, a guide to prepare for success. Talks about all the stuff that we've been talking about, but it also gives you an exact outline with job descriptions and everything you need to know to go out and create a high impact fundraising campaign, as we call it, which is a volunteer-led, staff-managed annual campaign, short period of time, doesn't overtax anybody. Volunteers are leading volunteers, staff's guiding them through there. We use the example of a $100,000 campaign in this online training course that we sell on our website. And that's simply because I happen to have that already, because we were working with Cheryl the year before. And so we had the model of a $100,000 campaign. We threw that in there. You can really tailor that to be $1 million campaign or a $25,000 campaign. Go to our website, check it out. I have you can schedule a free consultation with me. I'll put the link again on our Facebook page. Next week we'll have it on our website, where you can sign up for 30-minute time with me to talk about those things. Because I want you guys to be raising more money. We don't want to see people cutting in 2021. We want to see you expand and grow. The other thing, we have a new virtual fundraising solution that we are now offering. I'm excited. It is we have partnered with FundDuel, which is the number one, I believe, going to be the fastest growing virtual fundraising platform out there. It was originally designed after the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge that raised $1 bazillion a few years ago with that cute challenge. And you go out and you dump ice on your friend and ask them others to make a gift or do the challenge. That was the inspiration. There's a webinar on our Facebook page with me and Dr. Linda Hansen, the CEO and founder of FundDuel, talking about this. So during this pandemic, I wanted to find the very best way to offer virtual fundraising campaigns that's unique and different and fun and has the ability to go viral on all your social media, really bring in some new donors and fund your organization. Contact me. We'll do that. All right. So now it is time to do the questions. And let's see. You guys that are reading this, I'm not sure. It says Bello is replying to Cheryl. It says text this AM on WhatsApp. I don't know. I think somebody is spamming us. What is that? Drop your cash tag name. Yeah, I don't know, man. That we're gonna delete that. Any other? Yes, thank you. We've got something that's a real question. This is the first time anybody ever spammed me in a Facebook Live. We are doing an auction of donated items. This is from Darlene, Live Love Foundation in San Diego. We are doing an auction of donated items just sitting in our warehouse that we can't take down to Mexico. Hopefully, this will make around $10,000. Well, if you can make $10,000 with the auction, we're going to make another $10,000 just with that social media component. I hope I didn't lose you guys here. There we go. I froze there for a second on my end. Yeah, Cheryl, it looks like you got hacked, and I got hacked. They picked on you. They focused on you with the hack, Cheryl. So we'll be deleting that comment later. Yes, Darlene. If you've got $10,000, and this is really sad, she's got $10,000 worth of stuff she wants to take to Mexico, but she can't take it to Mexico right now. I have another client, Ronald Jensen, with the Salvavidas de Baja. These are guys that volunteer lifeguards, and some of them are paid lifeguards, I guess, down there. But majority of them are volunteer lifeguards in Tijuana and Rosarita and Ensenada and the Baja Norte area. These guys are hurting really bad because we can't get stuff down to them. They can't. I mean, it's just really bad. So Darlene's talking about selling the donated items in there, raising about $10,000. As I said, we'll talk next Tuesday, Darlene. We're going to get the ball rolling for you. I think we can definitely increase the amount just from the challenge you're going to come up with. And I don't know what that challenge is. Come up with a fun challenge. I'm working with a couple of nonprofits in Hawaii. I think we need the Shaka Challenge. Cheryl, let me know if you want to be the Shaka Challenge person. You've got a lot of musicians. There's a lot of great challenge opportunities. We're talking with the Maui, the Marine Institute right now, who saves sea turtles. And gosh, I know there's got to be a cool sea turtle challenge out there. That's kind of a unique thing. Darlene said it's also items they don't need, like a windshield worth $500 for a Bentley. Who? Somebody donated you a windshield for a Bentley. That one might be a tough one. We might have to go nationwide to find the buyer for the windshield for the Bentley, but we will definitely help you. That is the most unique thing I've had somebody talk about as a donated in-kind item to a nonprofit. Hey, would you guys need this windshield for a Bentley? Hey, it's worth $500, so let's sell it to somebody. Richard said, if you have someone with Sentry, they can go to Mexico. Getting back to the U.S. isn't the challenge. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's as we say in Hawaii, not pono or kosher, whatever the thing is, trying to get people together right now is an awkward time, and I get it. I don't know I haven't been to Mexico in a while. I used to travel. I used to be a liaison with the United States Lifeguard Association, fundraising and helping lifeguards, the Salvavidas in Mexico. And that was primarily in Oaxaca. That's where Ronald and I connected. Ronald's a client. He's taken our course. We want to do a fun dual campaign with him. I love Mexico. Getting on another rant there. And we're 2 minutes after our time. I said we'd be done in an hour. As you can see, I am passionate and love this stuff, and I get going on a tangent. But if there's any more questions you have, please put them in the chat. If I do not see any more questions, you guys know how to get a hold of me. Join our nonprofit campaigns fundraising, nonprofit campaigns Facebook group. nonprofit campaigns community, inspiring fundraising success. Go to our website, nonprofitcampaigns.plural.com. Don't put the plural in there, but it's more than one campaign. Nonprofitcampaigns.com. You can learn about FundDuel. You can learn about our online training course. We've got coaching programs to go along with you. One last comment I see from Darlene. Says, we go down to Mexico all the time, except that we can't load our vehicles anymore like we used to. They will pull you over and tax you like crazy. Yeah, we call that the mordita in Mexico. So we have to keep the stuff low, but actually they need food, basic necessities right now. Yeah, I get it. The Ronald, the guy I'm working with in Salvavidas de Mexico, in Baja right now, I mean, they're looking for oxygen bottles for people on COVID. The beaches aren't open. Darlene, you help orphanages in Mexico. That's interesting to know. We're going to find out more about that. She's able to go down to Mexico. They don't do that. That's really interesting because I used to send a lot of stuff to Oaxaca, and truckloads of stuff. And Mexicana Airlines used to transport it down for me because if we drove, you'd get stopped by every cop in every district along the way. Mexico's working really hard to get rid of corruption and what we call the mordita. Who knows what was first? Might have been the rich gringo that really did something wrong, and he offered a cop $100 to get out of it, and the cop doesn't make that in 6 months. And we've got that culture, right, where they pull you over and they ask for a handout. Don't give them money. Last time Danya and I did this, so we were in Mexico and we got pulled over and literally didn't have a dime in our pocket. Danya was our chief consultant here at Nonprofit Campaigns. I didn't have any cash. So I said, hey, you're right. I didn't know. I turned on a one-way street. He pulled me over. So let's go right to your station right now. I'm going to pay the fine. $50. Okay, let's go pay it. I said, I got to stop by the ATM. You want to follow me, or I'll follow you, whatever. Let's go to the ATM. We'll go to the police station. Guy goes, hang on a minute. Goes back to his car. Comes back in a minute. He goes, no, it's $50. We need to do it now. Just give me, and I say, hey, I don't have it. I told you. And so finally the guy went back to his car. Another car pulled up. They talked for a minute. The guy comes up to me and he goes, just go. Don't give him money. It just perpetuates the problem. Thank you, everybody. It's 1:06 now. That means it's 3:06 in California. We're 6 minutes past time. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Please pray for our friends on the East Coast that are going through some real horrible times right now. A lot of them said they'd want to be in this group but couldn't make it. And join our website, or join our Facebook group. Visit our website. Contact me if you have any questions. This concludes our Philanthropy Friday Facebook Live. Aloha. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.